Welcome, everybody, to episode 61 of UnHacked. We are cybersecurity made simple for the small business owner. I'm Justin Shelley, CEO of Phoenix IT Advisors, and my passion is helping businesses use technology to grow, develop their market, make lots of money, and then protect that money from the hackers, the government fines and penalties, and the lawyers that always seem to come sniffing around once we've built something amazing. I'm here, as always, with my regular, faithful co-host, Mario Zaki. Mario, take a minute to say hi and introduce yourself.
How are you guys? Mario Zaki, CEO of Mastic IT, located in beautiful New Jersey. We're about 15 minutes outside of Manhattan, which I was there yesterday for my anniversary. It was pretty fun. We have been in business for 21 years, and we specialize in working with small to medium-sized businesses and keeping business owners safe and give them the ability to sleep better at night knowing that their companies are safe.
Well, congrats on the anniversary. I didn't know this.
Thank you.
How many years?
14 years.
14. All right.
Yeah,
well
that's
done.
why
well
I
done.
couldn't really come along to Nashville this weekend.
Understandable. Yes, that would be the end of your 14 years. So good call there. And guys, also we're super excited to introduce today's guest. We're talking with the leadership team from 7 Seas Holdings. This is a group dedicated to helping their members invest in real estate securely and successfully. It's not just about investments, though. They're building a trusted ecosystem where investors feel safe and informed. There's a lot of education that has to go into this. So Pradima, Bhuvan, thank you so much for being here. Take a second to introduce yourselves and say hi.
Thank you, Justin. And Mario, congratulations again on your 14th anniversary. You just reversed that number. Call it 41. And that's where me and Bhuvan sit today.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So once again, as Justin said, we are Pratima and Bhuvan Sharma, and I'll give quick information about both of us. As managing members of 7 Seas Holdings, we bring a robust foundation to real estate. My background is in telecommunication, R&D, and operating systems, while Bhuvan's expertise lies in the IT compliance and governance. Together, we offer over 12 years of focused experience in the multifamily real estate sector, during which we have successfully transacted over 10,000 units.
Wow.
We have a proven track record of achieving significant investor returns, including 200% on several deals. Our investment opportunities are currently supported by a network of hundreds of participating members.
That's good stuff. Bhuvan, we'll punt it to you. Say hi and make yourself a quick introduction.
Well, again, thank you very much, Justin and Mario. And Mario, again, congratulations on your 14th anniversary.
Thank you very much.
It's a great. When we had 14, we thought it was a great achievement. When we went to 41, I think it's actual achievement. So I think it's a great. You'll be there. But anyway, guys, just like Pratima mentioned that I'm also from the IT background. I started out as a mainframe programmer. I'm sure you all know that mainframe was really when we had no internet connection and everything was secure because nobody was able to get in your system. Where nowadays anyone can get into your system, whether it's wirelessly through the internet or through the phone line, through the utility site or anywhere. But anyway, so I started out, then moved to SAP Consulting, and then went into the IT compliance. My last 18, 20 years was in IT compliance, where primarily in the audit side. So my job was to make sure that our company systems are protected from hackers, spammers. Did a lot of hands-on stuff, which I completely forgot. I used to have all the hacker books and all those things on my desk. We used to run those scans that nobody wants to run it. But anyway, we had a good time. But then after, we decided to move on to do something different, completely different than from IT side, is getting into real estate. So that is where we are. Our what we like to do is, we want to make sure our investors are safe, protected, and they have, better life than what we are trying to do. Just wait for their, mailbox money.
Well, it's a perfect fit, right? Because what I said I love to do is help people make money and then protect that money. And that's exactly what we're doing here today, right? Isn't that fair?
Yep, that is
Same,
fair.
same thing. Yeah, maybe different technologies, but kind of not. There's a lot of overlap in what we do here behind the scenes, what you guys do for your members, and but the end goal is the same. So I really do appreciate you guys being here today, and here's why. This is something the world of cybersecurity. It's just one of those things that, generally speaking, nobody wants to talk about. I don't have a lot of clients or prospects when I go to them and say, "Hey, let's talk about cybersecurity," that they get all excited and say, "Yeah, let's do it." And no, not only that, but let's jump on a podcast. We want to talk about this a lot. Mario, what's your experience with that? Do you have a lot of people just super excited to talk about this?
Zero. They're if anything, they cringe. They feel like it's a sensitive subject that they feel like if they don't talk about it, it will never happen, or
Right.
that it's that they'll jinx it if they do talk about it.
But here's the truth. No matter what business you're in some way, shape, or form, we are stewards of our clients' information, right? If we aren't careful with the information they give us, then we in turn can cause all kinds of damage to them. So not only do we try to build up our own portfolios, our own businesses, and protect that, we're actually in charge of and responsible for those that we do business with. So there again, not a lot of people step up and take ownership of this. So that is why I was just absolutely thrilled to have you guys on. Let's talk about and this is a pop quiz for Mario. Let's just see if he passes the quiz. Mario, what's the number one way that people get breached, that lose money in this world?
Email phishing.
Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about, right? And this is
Did
not
I pass?
you passed with flying colors. What a shocker. So this is something that's not unique to your business, but it is something that's super important in your line of work, right? Because in the end, cyber criminals are after exactly one thing. They're not after my social security number. They're not after my bank account number. They're not after my personal information. They're after my money. So this is the world you live in. That's the end goal. Tell me a little bit about what goes on in the world of investment that makes this so important.
Justin, you're so right about the phishing and the spam activities which are in the market these days, especially in our world of investment. It can be devastating, and that's why we want to be very open about it with our members. We are committed to ensuring that all our members are well informed about the risks of these fraudulent emails and spoofing attempts. These type of activities, unfortunately, are prevalent, and particularly in the context of fund collections. And we are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes $1 million by each member.
Wow.
So we always are on the lookout, and we teach our members from day one that, you need to take several actions, but top three that, we go through with them are: be on your guard always. Watch out for these fraudulent email addresses very, very carefully. These spam email usually have an extra character included inside the email, hidden inside the email ID. For example, they will add a small case or lowercase I or a lowercase l, which is very hard to detect. Secondly, we always guide them to not reply to any email if you notice it sounds fraudulent, verbiage-wise, or email address looks fraudulent, right? Do not click, especially on any links or hyperlinks. And number three big action that they need to take is call us immediately when they see such an email. And after calling us, we guide them to take another 3 steps. They need to collect the original messages block header that we can then send to your team and to other teams, IT teams, to debug and see if they can catch something in stock. Then we ask them to go and report it as a spam, so that the same spammer or the phishing email is not able to come through their system again. Another thing is that we have a message at the end of each of our email to continue to remind our members that never ever trust unintended property information and wiring instructions via email. Always call us, always reach out to us. So those are just some of the actions or details that we pass on to our members to keep them safe.
I want to talk about, you said always be on guard, always be watching. I don't remember your exact wording for that, but Mario and I live in this space, and I guess you guys do too. But Mario, what do you see when people are getting scammed, when they actually fall victim to a fraudulent email, other than the URL? So we've talked about that. They use a different character to kind of trick us into thinking. But what do you see in the actual content, Mario, that people should be watching out for?
So usually it's something like, oh, we've changed bank information, you see it a lot also with like fake employee information. I changed my direct deposit, please direct all my paychecks to this new, bank account. It really is something like, all of a sudden something was changed. And also, the other thing that we see a lot is when there's a sense of urgency, like you need to do this today. Make sure this is done as soon as possible. It's when they're trying to make you panic or nervous, because then you don't have time to really think about it. They're prying on those people that don't have time to really consider, like, oh, is this true? Should I call them? Let me, send them a text message, something like that. They want this done as soon as possible. So it's usually those two. If you see a sudden change that wasn't expected, or a sense of urgency that is like, I need this done as soon as possible.
Right. Yep. I agree.
Can I add this? What Mario was saying, being an IT person who spent quite a bit of time in IT side, one of the things that we were taught that urgency is one thing, and somebody who is coming up and say, I don't have a phone number, I can only work through email or chat. And
okay.
So it has happened to us, we were trying to sell the car many, many years ago. And the guy said, I can buy the car in, 20% more than what I listed. It was on Facebook. And I said, oh God, I sold it. It was like at 12 o'clock and this person is keep chatting me. And I said, wait a minute, why this person is chatting? He said, wait, I can pick up the car from here. I said, but where are you? Let me come by to you. No, I travel all the time, so I'm not available. So that gave me a sense. I said, oh, I know who you are. I just certainly said, oh, thank you very much. Let me figure this out, who you are. Let me report that to you with authorities. Dropped.
Yeah.
So having no phone, and anytime you see the phone number that is kind of off code, do not pick up, because that is where you're asking for trouble for yourself.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we've talked about the bad URLs. That's probably one of the most common one. We've got the sense of urgency, and I would just add to that they play on your emotions. Urgency is one of them, but they're going to touch on an emotion of some sort. If an email is overly emotional, act now. This opportunity is going to be, and I imagine, if I had to guess, in your industry, somebody, let's say I'm trying to spoof or scam your members, I would send an email out and say, hey guys, fantastic opportunity just came up. Today is Friday. It's 3:00 in the afternoon, and it closes by 6:00 tonight. We have to get the money right now, right? Isn't that kind of the sense that these emails will take when they try to spoof or scam in the world of investing?
Yeah, they will always come up with that sense of urgency that if you don't participate right now, this deal is going, and I'll get you to fill the legal documents later on, but I need you to fund right now, and here's the funding instruction right there in the email. So what we do is we have created a process, and all our members are aware of our process that we tell them day one, that when we find a real estate deal, we'll hold a webinar and for any new investment first. You will get to see us on Zoom or in person, depending on the time frame and where we are having that deal. And then after that, they will fill out the legal forms. We approve those legal forms, and only after that we will ask you to fund. And the funding instructions are never going to be given to you via email. They will only be available on the secure portal for you to download. So always be aware that wiring instructions and details are only communicated, securely, never by our email. And another, safeguard that we put around that is, once you have taken the wiring instructions from the portal, before you go to bank or when you're sitting in the bank, you are supposed to call this specific number that belongs to us. And you will talk to us personally at that point before you hit send. And at that point, we check with the person, is this the account number? Is this the routing number? Because sometimes what these guys do, they send that fraudulent wiring instruction with their bank details, right? So we have made this a point, made this safeguard so that we can protect our members' data and our members' funds, and give them continuous, communication regarding that.
This is amazing. It's great that you're putting in the work and doing this the correct way. Unfortunately, and Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, like this is the minority of people, like not too
Absolutely.
many are actually putting in these safeguards and following it with not only just one thing, but another thing and another thing after that, because this is what we unfortunately have to go through right now, is that you have to, one-factor authentication, two-factor authentication, three-factor authentication, and a lot of people don't go through that effort, and one thing, or there's something that we also have seen lately a lot, is you can have a lot of this stuff in place on your side, and but you can be dealing with either a customer or vendor or something like that aren't going through all that stuff. They get breached, and even though you're protected, they're still communicating with you through their real email, their real ID, and then they're the ones that don't even know that they got breached, but they're trying to, or the hacker is using them to reach other people. So that's where you would see, hey, my ACH, my bank account changed, send it, and you've confirmed, yes, this is the right email, stuff like that. But kudos to you guys for putting the proper precautions in place and following them. That's amazing.
And I'm going to brag on them for a minute, Mario. I'm glad you brought that up. So, and this is the bottom line. This is what I hate to talk about. I hate to admit it, but it is the cold, hard reality. No matter what we do to protect ourselves and to protect our finances and to protect our businesses, there's always a chance that something bad's going to happen. There's always a chance that we're going to lose money. And where you guys, not only do you have these systems in place, you have these protections in place. Let's say it all goes sideways through no fault of your own. You guys have a story that I want you to tell about what you do above and beyond for your members. And I'm going to give this one to you, Bhuvan.
Yeah, I can tell you, just like what myself we said, we are very protective for our investors, and we want to make sure that they're doing the right thing. So, putting all those three-tier, authentication, sometime because we have members that's been here for 12 years, they get very comfortable. The email coming from Bhuvan and Pratima is right. So in this case, somebody spoofed our email, send the wiring instruction, tell him we need the money by tomorrow. So guess what? This person sent the money and then called me next day. Hey, Bhuvan, did you receive my money? Now I'm talking about 6 figures money.
Oh my
It's
God.
not a small amount. And I say, which money you're talking about? Oh, I sent you this morning. You should have had it. I say, tell me, where did you send? When he sent me the wire instruction, I was in the car. I was going to somewhere else. I said, you got to be kidding me. We had the, instruction. We made the protocol. Guess what? You made a big boo-boo. I'll call you back. I turned around, went to my bank, sat down with the manager. I said, this is exactly what happening. He said, I'm busy. I said, you're not busy. This is critical. I sat down with the manager of the bank. We called every single fraud department in the bank. We got that wire to stop, and we were able to get 100% of the money back. It took them long, but I can tell you, it was a Friday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Most of the banks are almost closed. The wire closed at 3 o'clock. If they had they pushed the wire, but they were able to stop because the fraud was able to get into and intervene the stop. So those things can happen, but we are glad that we were able to get the money back, and this person did not lose. So Maria, just like I said, no matter what you do, there's always someone who is going to make a silly mistake, and then always come to, oh, you did not give me instruction. In this case, we followed all the procedure, but apparently this person did not follow. But I can tell you another story. There's another person who literally lost the money because he told us we're late.
Right. You don't have a lot of time. Friday afternoon, it seems like that's always the case.
Yeah.
But you
And they do
didn't
it
just.
on purpose. They do it on
Oh, yeah.
purpose because they know there's not going to be much happening on Saturday, nothing happening on Sunday. It's on purpose.
So
And
this was a great.
It wasn't your money. It wasn't your fault. It was nothing that you did wrong. And yet you took your time immediately to go sit down with the bank on behalf of your member who had been scammed, again, through no fault of your own. And I'll tell you what, this is not something I see very often. In fact, several years ago, in prepping for a different episode of our podcast, I called my bank up and I just gave them some scenarios of fraud and asked them, what could be done. And in the end, they were not helpful at all. They couldn't give me any good information. I was so disappointed and disgusted with what resources were available from the bank on my behalf, and I was an actual customer of them. So this is just something you don't see very often. A vendor, a supplier, or whatever, a business owner who will turn their car around, not just make a phone call, not just give instructions of what to do, but actually go turn around and spend their Friday afternoon on behalf of a client. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Now, one other thing we did, Justin, is not only that, I did that the phone number, the account number they had, it was still a Dallas account, Dallas business address, but it was somewhere else. So, and it was a different bank. And I called the bank and told them I need to talk to a fraud department. They didn't want to talk to me. I explained them who am I. So I was able to talk to the person, you need to close this bank account now. You cannot take any money in there. This is a fraudulent account. They didn't do it, but I end up talking to the top person on the IT department, and I forced them to close the account. So they will not be able to, and no one can send the money into that account, fraudulent account.
Wow. Mario, in your experience with wire fraud, how many times do you get to turn that around and get your money back?
It's rare. It's really
Right.
it's very rare, and it used to be, believe it or not, it actually is now less, a lot harder to do that than it was before,
Mhm.
because what was happening was they were, you know, these fraudulent accounts were actually, a lot of them were overseas. And,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, banks started getting like, okay, we're gonna put in a precaution that if anything going overseas, we're gonna, we're gonna flag it. So now these guys are opening up local, not, domestic accounts so that it
Yes.
doesn't flag. And then once they get, something, whatever, one or two payments, then they close the account.
Right.
They're always pulling the money right away.
Yes.
So it's a lot harder now. And I forgot which bank it is. It may be Chase or something. For a while, they were allowing people to open up bank accounts online without actually going into a branch and showing ID or doing any of that stuff, so it was much easier. I don't even know if that's still the case or not, but I know it was for a while.
I think it was similar bank. It was a smaller bank, and in this case,
Not
when they
only, go ahead.
go ahead. No, what I'm going to say is that a smaller bank, and when I was talking to my bank, because we have a large account in there, what they told me is they were able to see the transaction. Mario, just like you're saying, so when they open an account in a local bank, they transfer like $300, $400 to the different denominations. So the fraud department cannot catch your IT
Right.
because you have written a specific script to catch this. So these perpetrators are smart, that they will pull money not on the same amount, it's a different amount, on a different interval. So it's very hard to track that that's really a fraudulent transaction or is a real transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, some of these banks allow to open online, but some of these folks opening these online from another country. And you can see it's coming from Africa, or you can see it's coming from India or somewhere from outside, and you know this is fraudulent. But it's still, they will not listen to us sometimes that, guys, you need to close this account, freeze this account. Well, who are you? We are from Seven Seas. Okay. I mean, for them, we are also somebody from outside. Why should
Right.
they listen to us? But we are giving you some fact, at least, look into it. But anyways, Justin, you mentioned, you don't see other people's, other syndicators or other companies doing this, but we feel that, our members deserve it. And the reason is they trust us, and they are like a big family to us. So we owe it to them, even a dollar lost is lost funds
Yeah.
that we need to look at.
And the one thing I am going to call out my former bank, which was TD Bank. I was with TD Bank. That was when I first started making money, like as a in the college. Like I opened up a bank account. I had it with TD for like 30 years, and back when it was Commerce Bank and stuff like that. But one thing that really pissed me off about them and recently was they did not have the proper precautions in place for ACH payments and stuff like that. So if somebody pulled money out of my bank account, they didn't have anything that lets me review it. They didn't have anything that gives me a warning.